Thanks for joining us today on the Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at Man Blitz. Visit us at www.3manblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker. And don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Man Blitz. I'm your boy, Andrew, and I've got with me, as always, Jeremy and Queasy. Say what's up, guys.
Yo.
What's going on?
Jeremy's over there fisting pizza.
I was killing some food here.
Wasn't right. Anyway, so we're gonna crack a cold one, take our shots, do what we do, and what we're doing this week is we're gonna go over our starts and sits from last week, tell you a couple of hits and misses. We're gonna talk about our games to watch coming up this next week. There's thin pickings there, let me tell you, but we got the best ones for you.
Depends on who gets the COVID.
Yeah,
that's right.
We're going to go over our starts and sits, offensive positions. We're going to hit a couple of waiver wire candidates and give you some buy low, sell high guys that maybe you should target in your league. But before we do all that, boys, bottoms up.
Andrew switched to beer because he's afraid of liquor.
Yeah.
No, the difference is I can keep drinking this whole episode.
Ooh.
You do. But it's liquor.
Liquor and pizza.
Finger up, people.
Finger up. Queasy's fancy. Listen to him.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to fire off with my first game to watch. And this one is more interesting than anything. I think it's going to be an offensive showdown. You've got Carolina at Atlanta. Christian McCaffrey is out. Atlanta is on the cusp of possibly the most awful season in franchise history. Yeah, Carolina's trying to make a bounce back. Yeah. What happens here? Who is the victor? Who rises to the top? And I think it's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of fantasy points scored in this game, and there are going to be a lot of players that you can really take advantage of in this matchup. So I would definitely take a watch at this one.
Carolina, go beat my Falcons again. Then we're going to fire Dan Quinn.
Queasy's distraught. You guys give him a break.
Hey, jeez.
I would be willing to say that a lot of Atlanta fans would say, you know what, let's take the loss if it's a fire Dan Quinn. You know somebody's got to take the hit for all these losses. And how can it not be Dan Quinn?
Exactly. And this is just start this year. It's been going on for a while.
And let me just put this in perspective.
Put it.
The Texans made it to the playoffs the last two seasons.
Yes.
They started this season with the same record as the Falcons. The only difference is they lost against tougher competition. And Bill O'Brien was the first one walked out the door.
Well, I agree. I'm not going to say that Texas had tougher competition. I mean, as
they had the Chiefs.
Cowboys are.
No. Chiefs.
They had
Ravens, Steelers. And then Vikings. They could have beat the Vikings.
We started off with the Seahawks.
Seahawks were tough.
Fantastic.
And, of course, Dallas should, on paper, have a better team than what they are.
Bro, they're like 1-3 now.
But on paper,
Dallas, it's all Dallas's defense, though. It's garbage. Their offense is hot.
I mean, they blew the lead in that one.
We also had the Packers.
And then
when Brett Favre was a bad
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
I always say Brett Favre. I swear.
He's baby Brett.
1990.
Baby Brett.
Rodgers, man.
Aaron Rodgers is killing it.
Clyde White Shoes Johnson.
That's Edwards-Hilaire.
But Aaron Rodgers is a bad man.
And that's a good game to watch. I actually think that Atlanta will pull this one out and get their first win, much to the chagrin of a lot of Atlanta fans and to you, Queasy, because Dan Quinn will continue to ride on, which really sucks. I never want to see anybody lose their job, but Atlanta's way too good to be winless at this point.
The talent is being wasted.
It's just really terrible.
So fire him and eventually bring in the Chiefs
offensive coordinator.
Bieniemy. Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be
I also like
out there.
Lincoln Riley as a hire because Oklahoma has not started off really hot this year. If you were gonna pull him away from the program, that offensive mind, this would be the year to do it.
All right.
I just don't know if you hire an unproven. Anyway, the game I'm looking most forward to, not taking that one.
Yeah.
Looking through the list, believe it or not, this whole week's not extremely captivating. But I would look at Indianapolis Colts versus or at the Cleveland Browns. And that's not a game. I know, and it feels weird saying it. But Cleveland's actually 3-1. And the Colts are doing really well. Yeah, they are. Go look. And the Colts have one of the best defenses. I know. It's weird to say it out loud. It really is. When I saw it, I had to double check it. Like,
Baker,
that can't be right. That can't be right. But I want to see the Colts defense versus the Browns offense, who's been really good lately, and I want to see it. Because looking through the list, there's just not a lot of games that I really want to watch. I'm going to be spoon-fed a few on local TV and stuff, but that game I'm interested in. For what it's worth.
Let me toss one out there.
Throw it out.
I got the Oakland Raiders.
Sorry
about that.
They've moved on.
I've got the LA Raiders. Not the LA Raiders.
Vegas.
Las Vegas Raiders. Going against the Chiefs.
That's a good one.
Is my game to watch.
Queasy.
That is a good one.
Throw something at your roommate. Tell him shut up.
Hey, I'm with you on that game.
That's my game to watch. The Cards been having a decent year. The Titans, Wild's been having a decent year. They got to have a breakout game, and I think they will defeat Kansas City Chiefs.
Bro,
I said
in the division.
I said it. I said
it.
You want to shot bet on that? You don't want to shot bet on that?
I will drink the bottle.
Dog!
You will.
Dog!
You're definitely going to do it.
Yo, put me down on that one. Put me down.
Well, I got it.
Okay. So, but I will say I will like this game. You got rookie receivers. Wookie. Just throw back to episode 1 for those of you who are just joining us. You got a rookie wide receiver Brian Edwards. You also have Henry Ruggs. You got Darren Waller, who looks really good. You're right. I'm excited for this matchup. Josh Jacobs. We'll get to him more later, definitely.
I want Josh Jacobs to show out.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to toss one more, guys, at you.
Yeah,
Cincinnati versus Baltimore. And I'm picking Cincinnati.
Divisional matchup.
I think Burrow will do his thing, and I think this will also be the time where Lamar Jackson, people start questioning him again.
He starts to falter a little bit, huh?
Exactly.
He had a bounce-back week after facing the Chiefs.
All right.
And Joe Mixon finally did something fantasy relevant.
Exactly.
Oh, but they are at Baltimore.
Yeah.
All right. So, Queasy, instead of straight up taking you as a shot bet on this one, how about Lamar Jackson is accountable for over 300 yards of offense?
Passing and running.
Passing and running.
You're saying passing and running, Lamar Jackson's going to have 300 accountable yards.
For offense.
Plus or minus, you're taking the over.
I would take the over.
Yeah. So, under. Let's go. Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
I'll take that. All right. And while Jeremy's writing that one down, we're going to move on to our starts and sits. So I'm going to fire off some of my starts first. We've got our 4 offensive positions. We have quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And I also have an honorable mention at tight end that might surprise you guys because I've not been very high on this player. So my start quarterback is Kirk Cousins, Minnesota Vikings versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's an interesting game. Why didn't we talk about that one? That one ought to be good. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook.
It's prime time, too. It's 8:20. It's the late game. I like it. I'll be watching it. So
since the emergence of Justin Jefferson, I feel a little more safe about Kirk Cousins, and I think that he would be a good start this week for sure. If you can grab him, or if you have him, or you could maybe get him pretty cheap. I mean, he's not the best quarterback in the world, but he's in there. And my running back let me down this past week. He's one that I missed on. Old Kenyon Drake. He had 13 rushes for 35 yards this past week. Went out with some chest pain. He just had the wind knocked out of him. He has been extremely disappointing this season. I will say that he bounces back this week, and you get your draft capital out of him.
So you're taking Kenyon Drake again. I tell you what, I took Kenyon Drake in some of my daily fantasy on DraftKings, and I tell you what, I was not happy with Kenyon Drake, buddy. And that was a good matchup for him.
It was. But he did go out early, so I think he pulls it together this week. Wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb versus the New York Jets. some of you guys have been kind of not so wild about starting CeeDee Lamb. He had 2 touchdowns this past week. He's getting a bit of targets because Amari Cooper's drawing a lot of coverage. You can't double cover all of these amazing wide receivers. So CeeDee Lamb will come in and he will get his.
Whoever is still hesitant on CeeDee Lamb, I think after this past week, they're looking at him a little bit more favorably because he had a fantastic game.
No, it's CeeDee Lamb versus the Giants, not the Jets.
Yeah,
both of those New York teams are 0-4, so they don't matter.
They're pretty bad.
And tight end, Hunter Henry versus the New Orleans Saints. I think he has a fantastic week versus the Saints. They're going to have to throw the ball a little bit to try to keep up with the Saints offense. It's pretty high-powered. But here's the catch. My honorable mention, only because all 4 of their starting receivers did not participate in practice today. And the other tight end is out for the season on IR.
Okay.
Gronkowski. It's time for Gronk to emerge from his cave that bear has been sleeping in and destroy the Chicago Bears. Gronkowski is going to be a target this week because he's basically the only freaking target on the field.
That also means he's going to get covered a ton. But I will say that the week before this one, Gronk had a pretty good game as far as receptions and especially in targets. So he had a ton of volume, which is always good, especially in the tight end position.
Well, this is his week versus the Bears. So
he needs to hit pay dirt. He needs to score some touchdowns before anybody starts really looking at him as a constant start.
Well, this week it's going to happen. It's going to happen this week.
Shot bet? No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to take that.
You don't want to take that.
I don't.
I wouldn't have said anything if I weren't confident. Okay, you guys want to throw out your starts real quick?
Sure.
Go ahead, bud.
Right now I got starting Ben Roethlisberger.
Me too.
Oh, B-Rock.
Crazy, man. We're always right here.
We're on it.
Twinsies
against Philly's poorest defense, buddy.
Exactly. And
come on.
So I think Big Ben will have a decent game. He should be getting back one of his receivers, Johnson. So he's gonna be doing his thing.
I like Deontay Johnson now.
Yeah, exactly. Got a lot of weapons on the offense for him right now. Running back, I got James Robinson.
That's right.
Jacksonville.
He's been showing out this year unexpectedly. Houston, it's been kind of porous right now as far as the defense. So I think he will have another big game for them. And they will make sure the Texans have the same record as the Falcons at 0 wins.
Hey, Queasy, I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. Me and Queasy, man, we over here suffering in the corner.
Exactly.
It's a good thing that I don't have a pro team that I call my own. Probably they would also be winless. So
yeah.
Well, 3-man blitz is a jinx. You guys should stop listening to it.
Exactly. At wide receiver, I have Lockett. I know we mentioned that game. I think it will be a high-scoring game, high-powered game. So I think Russell Wilson will still put himself out there for the MVP of the season so far. And show out, giving Lockett 3 touchdowns.
Hey, can I time out real quick? I just wanted to throw this in real quick. We were talking about our starts and sits last week. I had DK Metcalf thrown out there, and he is actually the number 1 receiver in the NFL as far as receiving yards go.
Wow.
I was actually really impressed to look at that stat, and DK Metcalf is killing it, and so is Tyler Lockett. I was wrong about Tyler Lockett. They're letting Russ cook, man. So
you were. I'll tell you what, though, Tyler Lockett this past week he only had 2 receptions.
Exactly.
Really killed me against Miami. That should have been a cash cow game in Daily, and he really screwed me.
That wasn't a super game.
I'm with you, Queasy.
That wasn't a super game for Russ. That wasn't. And if Russ a little bit, I think that DK Metcalf has proven himself the number 1, and he's going to be the guy to get the targets. But if you think Russ is going to cook, man, you definitely want to throw out Tyler Lockett.
They're splitting them. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're right. If Russell Wilson's cooking, they're all eating.
Yeah. Even Chris Carson, he's getting receptions as well.
It's gonna be Thanksgiving dinner for Wilson. You know what I'm saying?
For them Seahawks, they eating dinner.
Eating dinner. All right.
My tight end, I got Kelsey. I think another high-powered game against Vegas and the Chiefs. So Watkins has been he blew up the very first game, and then he has straight flat tire since then.
It was the same last year too. He killed it week 1, and then no touchdowns the rest of the season.
None. So
what's wrong with you?
Doing his thing, but it's up and down. He's been pretty consistent since. But I still think Kelsey's time for him to shine.
Yeah,
Kelsey.
He's a lizard.
Kelsey.
Sammy Watkins is a lizard. Said it on Twitter. Look it up. He's a lizard.
Lizard?
He tweeted that he was a lizard.
That's weird. Anyway,
he's weird.
Maybe that's why he's not getting any catches because
you throw the ball to a lizard.
He's camouflaged and you don't see him out there.
You want to see Yeah, exactly. You want to see your guy, right?
The DBs don't see him either, though. So
he's standing alone in the end zone, like, hey. So I just want to start off by saying that last week I had one real good start, which was Aaron Rodgers against Atlanta. He showed out. I got you a lot of points. My worst person I told you to sit was Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon finally went off and had a good game.
But I feel you on that one though, because you weren't expecting it. It wasn't right. It shouldn't have happened.
It wasn't great. But having said that, you're gonna have some misses here and there. But my start, like we had said earlier, I'm with Queasy 100%. Ben Roethlisberger against Philly's defense. Philly is real porous right now. They're bad on every facet. They have a pretty good rush. They have a pretty good quarterback rush going. But they've had an extra week to prepare, and I think they're going to utilize it pretty well. He got some offensive weapons back. He's going to go off. Ben Roethlisberger. My running back is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm sorry,
Helaire.
CH versus Las Vegas, buddy.
Helaire.
If you look, he's kind of had an up and down fantasy season. And I've got it written down. He had 21 points, 9 points, 15.5 points, 9.5 points. So if you continue on that, he's gonna have
for an up game.
He's gonna have a double-digit fantasy game. And he runs the ball really well, and he catches it, and he's versatile. So anytime you want that, he's got target share in the pass. He's gonna get some volume. Really like CEH, definitely for a rookie. He's the man. So start him. Wide receiver, we touched on Dallas a little bit. I've got Amari Cooper against the Giants.
Knuckle bump.
Yeah. Boom. So, we don't go over these. We don't compare notes. We don't compare notes pre-show.
No, these are all fresh, guys.
These are real knuckle bumps.
They're surprises to us. But Amari Cooper against the Giants, they're going to have a feast. I think Dallas gets the win, obviously.
Yeah.
And the Giants have a lot of struggles right now. And, it's going to be pretty good. Yeah. My tight end, and I actually wrote down feast time like it's Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And it's George Kittle against Miami. So George Kittle this past game,
did pretty well.
He was killing it. He's injured. He was out for a little bit, and he came back, and he was making up for lost time. He had 30-something fantasy points. I don't expect that to slow down. Nick Mullins, I think he actually lost him that game, but he's tossing the ball around, and he's going to throw it to Kittle a ton. And,
I think Garoppolo might be back, but I don't know.
And
is he back? Either way. Yeah. If Garoppolo's back, maybe even better because he loves Kittle.
I will say Raheem Mostert was definitely in consideration for the start running back of the week in this game. We did. Honorable mention for sure.
For sure. All right, you want to start running us through the sits?
Yes, sir. I'll kind of blow through these. We're running a little short on time because, we got to do more episodes and drink more.
Hit it.
My sit quarterback is the opposite of y'all's start quarterback. Carson Wentz versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't touch this man. Don't touch him. He may be due for a bounce-back game, but this is not it. You don't want to start him against this defense. It's going to be ugly. Receivers are non-existent. His offensive line is old and brittle and non-existent. And Carson Wentz, that poor fella.
Yeah, he may be due for Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, baby. That's a me and Queasy fist bump right there.
We'll see. Boop boop boop.
Okay, my sit running back. My sit running back to many of your surprise will be Joe Mixon versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Weezy just talked about he thought that Mixon was going to have a good game, Burrow was going to have a good game, and this was going to be kind of a coming out party for Cincinnati, which I do like Cincinnati, but I don't like them enough to start Joe Mixon this week versus the Ravens.
Yeah.
Wide receiver not to start is Julian Edelman versus the Denver Broncos. Cam Newton is due to be out for another game.
Was he?
And I
Okay.
know you want to start. I mean, he's got the COVID. He's been over there licking them benches in New England. That's what he does, licking them doorknobs. You don't ask him what he's doing. He's Cam Newton. He can do what he wants.
Is Cam Newton licking that doorknob? Just leave him alone. Leave him alone.
That's why he was the only one to have COVID in the whole camp. He's the quarterback.
He probably got it somewhere where he's shopping because nobody else is shopping there except for Cam Newton.
Nobody else shopped dressed like an old lady except Cam Newton.
Can we go?
Look at this blouse.
I'm sorry. My sit tight end is Mike Gesicki versus San Francisco.
Hey, me too.
Oh!
Hey!
Okay. And I hit on Minshew last week. I missed on Kenyon Drake. Like I said, I'm giving him another shot. DK Metcalf, I hit on him. I missed on Tyler Higbee. I definitely missed on Brady. I apologize, Mr. Goat. I was wrong about you.
He said, "What's that, Andrew?"
He just scored 3 touchdowns to spite me.
He did.
Exactly.
I hit on Miles Sanders. He was some garbage. I missed on Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is a wide receiver 1 to start week in, week out. No matter who's at quarterback, no matter who they're playing, Terry McLaurin is a beast. I'm just laying it down.
I just want to throw this out there. I did not listen to your advice. I started him, and guess what?
You were better for it.
Pay dirt.
And I hit on Zach Ertz because everything in Philly is just ugh.
It's tough with Philly. You want to start with your sits?
My sits. We gotta sit down. Fitz magic. It's not going to happen this time.
There's no magic to be had.
He let me down so hard.
Exactly. A lot of great linebackers there, and they're going to try to still push starting Tua finally. And this will be close to mid-season, so this will be that time to finally bring him after this game. It's magic.
I hope they do.
I did read today because I own shares of Tua in leagues here. I did read today that he is not due to start this game. That doesn't mean that he won't come in.
Oh yeah, he's not going to start this game. But
their coach did come out and say he's not naming Fitzpatrick the starter, which to me says, hey, who knows? Who knows when Tua's coming in? Might be this week. So.
I think we'll definitely see him soon, as far as within the next 2 games at least.
Bye, Tua.
I say my next running back sit is Gibson. They're going against the Rams. And when I say the Rams in that front line, you got to mention Aaron Donald. So it's tough to get through that man in any kind of capacity. So I think they'll get kind of shut down. And the Rams are playing a lot hotter than people are thinking, at least from the beginning of this year. Definitely.
They look better than they should.
They're sneaky.
They are sneaky.
People are definitely sleeping on them. NFC, they're definitely sleeping.
That's me. I'm sleeping on them.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
One of my sits might be a surprise. He actually was going to be one of my starts last week going up against that Dallas secondary, which was Odell Beckham. He did pretty well against that Dallas secondary, but I think he will have a tough time against this Indianapolis Colts secondary. It's a totally different beast.
That's a good one.
And they will sit down this star.
That's a good one. OBJ.
Now, what was that name? I don't recognize this Odell Beckham Jr. Who are you guys talking about?
Odell Boo.
Odell Boo Boo Jr. Okay.
I'm silly, man.
What you got tight end, please?
I'm catching what you're throwing.
I got Noah Fant to sit down. Great tight end.
Got you.
That's a good surprise. But again, these linebackers for the New England Patriots usually pretty strong. Those wide receivers for the Denver Broncos are actually starting to step up, especially like Patrick from last week.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, I'm going to blow through my sits real quick so we can get to some of this other content we've got here. My sit is the Jets quarterback and Sam Darnold versus Arizona's really good secondary.
Wait a minute. I appreciate what you're doing here, but Sam Darnold is my sit every week. You can't just take him.
You can't sit him every week.
I want to sit him every week.
I got a feeling he's not.
Sam Darnold has a AC joint injury, which also makes me want to sit him. He's also injured. Exactly. I don't know if it's throw and shoulder, probably not, but I don't even know if he's going to play at this point. I'm sitting him.
Sit Sam Darnold forever.
Exactly.
You probably sit almost every Jet forever right now. Exactly. Running back, I'm taking Miles Sanders, the running back for Philly, going up against Pittsburgh's stout defense. So, yeah, I'm just not seeing it there. Philly's having a hard time. Pittsburgh's had that bye week. They're really rested and prepared. I'm taking wide receiver Tyler Boyd versus Baltimore, and Tyler Boyd is a guy that a lot of people aren't talking about, but he has been killing it. He has been silently grabbing a ton of Joe Burrow's passes, and he's been doing really well, but they're going against Baltimore. I still am afraid of Baltimore's defense. I'm not going to roll with him. He's a speedster, but I'm not feeling it. I'm going to sit him on this one. And then, of course, me and Andrew linked up on this one with Mike Gesicki against the 49ers defense. Not feeling Gesicki. I'm not feeling the Dolphins. It might be a little jaded by me, but I got burnt by them in daily, and I'm just not feeling Miami anymore. And they should have had a good offensive showing against Seattle, and they really just sucked. And they showed who they really were. So, anyway, that's our starts and sits. Let's move into any waiver wire ads that we have.
Waiver wire ads. I have 2.
Waiver wire ads. Throw them out, man.
I have 2. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys took my advice last week or not, but T. Higgins is still owned in less than 50% of leagues. He may not be the guy this week, but if you're like absolutely hurt and need somebody to throw in a flex spot versus the Ravens, you can throw him in there. But T. Higgins is a guy to own shares of for sure. He was a beast in college, and he's proven to be a touchdown machine in the NFL as well.
Yeah, and every week he's been getting an uptick in volume. It may have plateaued by now, but it's still pretty good. So Burrow's throwing to him.
I see a connection growing here for sure.
No doubt.
And my number 2, my last one, is Chase Edmonds, the running back for the Arizona Cardinals. He is the backup to Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake hasn't really super been getting it done, and if you're in a PPR league, Chase Edmonds is their basically what you would call third down back. He's the receiver of a lot of those, dump off passes and whatnot. I think Kenyon Drake only has 1 reception on the season, whereas Chase Edmonds has like 15 or 16 or something like that. So if you're looking for a little flex volume here, he's your guy. And plus, he's just a good handcuff to have because he's wanted backup running backs in the NFL. So I would definitely, if you have room to stash him, I would definitely recommend picking him up.
Yeah. Queasy, you got any waiver wire ads? Anybody want to talk about?
Only one I have is Patrick from the Broncos. I thought about him last week, and he definitely showed out then. So if you don't have him, you better definitely get him.
No doubt. I've got I've got 2 guys written down here. I've got Robert Tonyan, the tight end. Tight ends is one of those weird positions. He had 3 touchdown grabs. So usually you'd see that and you say, okay, well, Devontae Adams is out and 3 touchdowns. That's an outlier, right? Well, he had 1 touchdown grab the week before and a good showing. So even when Devontae Adams comes back, which he should come back at some point, he should still get some pretty good goal line work, some red zone work, and that's what you really want at your tight ends. He's available in a ton of leagues, which is crazy.
And can we just throw out real quick that he was undrafted?
Oh, wow.
And he's absolutely shredded. Man.
Yeah.
Good hands, man.
Good hands.
I froze for a minute. My next pickup, I froze for a minute, is Damian Harris. So I don't think a ton of people have them because I know not a lot of people wanted any of the Patriots running backs. However, Sony Michel is hurt. That's 1 less mouth to feed. Cam Newton obviously has the COVID. He went over 100 yards against the Chiefs. I think that that is the route that they're probably going to want to run until Cam comes back at the very least. So he's a pretty good pickup short term for you, Damian Harris.
Damian Harris was also undrafted last season. He's a very good running back out of Alabama.
A lot of talent, man. A lot of talent goes undrafted.
Speaking of Alabama running backs, let's get to our buy low, sell high. Boom! Let me hit you guys with that Josh Jacobs for a buy low candidate. So many people are frustrated with Josh Jacobs. Basically, all the same people were feeling the same way about Joe Mixon last week. And you missed out on that. He blew up, so you're not getting him now. He may be more of a sell-high candidate than anything. But Josh Jacobs, he gets a lot of volume, and he is due for a big game. Josh Jacobs is a beast. He's very fast. He's good receiving out of the backfield. Grab him up if you can.
Yeah, I think Las Vegas just isn't utilizing him properly. My buy low candidate is Deshaun Watson. So the Houston quarterback, obviously they're undefeated. I'm so sorry, Houston fans. They're winless. They're winless.
Douche.
I think a lot of people I think a lot of people are hitting that freak out button. I think they'll push him for pretty cheap. You might be able to get him anyway. Some people might know better, but I would definitely at least push to buy low on Deshaun Watson.
And just in case, just if you're looking, you're a fantasy guru yourself, you believe these buy low candidates that we're telling you, don't sell them. Don't sell them unless you think you can get what you really need out of them. But my sell high guy, man, my sell high is Kareem Hunt, the running back for the Browns. Nick Chubb will be out for about 6 weeks. So if you need him, keep him. But when you near the end of this time, when Nick Chubb is getting ready to come back, you might still be able to sell him high. But we remember he's still only the number 2 guy on this offense. When Nick Chubb is here, he's at best a flex play. So if you can get something out of him right now for a guy who's hurting for a running back, go ahead and do it. If you've got somebody else to plug that hole until Chubb gets back,
That's a pretty good one too, because we don't know how he's gonna look when he comes back. It was an MCL injury, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So when he comes back, he might be shaky, and they may want to shelve him for a little bit longer if Kareem Hunt's doing really well. So yeah. I actually have 2 more. I have 2 more. Quizzy, and jump in if you have anybody. I don't want to step on your toes. I've got Mike Davis, the running back for Carolina. Sell him high right now before Christian McCaffrey comes back. To anybody unaware, Mike Davis is actually doing extremely well. Fantasy viable option at the
honestly, if I may interject here, you may want to wait until after he has this game versus Atlanta because he'll probably have a lot of rushing yards.
Either way, if you really need him, hold on to him for that. But you might be able to get a little bit more for him, but sell him as soon as possible, especially after the Atlanta game, because Christian McCaffrey is going to come back, and he's a 3-down back. He's not a dink and dunk guy alone. He can run the ball too. I've got one more, and that is a guy that we talked about just a second ago, and that's Tua Tagovailoa. So if you're in a redraft league, as long as you're not in a dynasty league, sell him now. And the fact that with a lot of hype, like, look, Fitzpatrick, they're not doing anything. They're not doing great. They're about to bring him in. That's how you have to push it. Otherwise, you have to wait until he actually comes in and actually shows out, and then you try to sell him. You may not want to sell him.
That's a risk.
But right now, he's not seen the field. So sell him high on a lot of hype and a lot of worry to anybody, especially if anybody has Ryan Fitzpatrick. I would try to sell him right now and make that deep playoff run. That's who I've got. I thought he was an honorable mention anyway.
Yep. Sounds good.
Well, gents, that wraps it up for our NFL episode here. If you like what you heard, then definitely make sure you subscribe and follow us. Follow us on Twitter. You see our Twitter. You see our Twitter handles here below our names. We're a couple episodes in. I've had a bit to drink.
Tweedle.
But as always, guys, ladies and gents, thanks for joining us, and go for 3.
Go for 3, guys.
Go for 3.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Queasy at RastaLion1131, Jeremy at CheckerboardJ, and me at Jedi Quarterback.